Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to keep it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
There's an arrest coming. There's actually 2 arrests that are already made. There's a 3rd one coming. I don't know why people are sitting on this. I'm ready. I see that some people are not. I've been ready. A lot of you are ready. Like, let's get this over with, right?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f*** you.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong, I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95, that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense, because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things, into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So
you say you know he's innocent?
1,000%. Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case, no.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, "My concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors."
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
She did, and when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
He was distant, aloof, and cold. Yet, what we heard that day, the shouting, the threats, was nothing compared to what I saw later that night. That was when everything truly took a turn.
Federal trafficking, racketeering, and charges beginning Monday morning.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's Black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a Black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urged the judge to remand him.
Elaborate, sometimes days-long parties by coercing victims through drugs, threats, and manipulation. They claim to have video evidence, and some of the accusations echo details from over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Combs over the last 30 years.
You guys weren't even 18 years old. You couldn't escape. You couldn't get out of there. There were so many times I tried to intervene. There was a lot of times.
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Is it going to go on for weeks?
For sure, weeks.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes. As his lawyers argue, the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
They've called him the devil for decades, a shadowy figure pulling strings from behind the scenes. But now, Sean Diddy Combs is stepping into the unforgiving glare of the legal system, facing one of the most explosive and high-stakes trials in modern history. For years, rumors have swirled about his larger-than-life persona, his alleged control over the culture, and his ability to silence enemies before they could speak. Yet, beneath the surface of glitz, glamour, and chart-topping hits lies a web of secrets. Secrets that prosecutors claim are darker than anyone imagined. What has he kept hidden behind those gilded doors of his opulent mansions and exclusive parties? And why do some believe he's been shielded by powerful forces, from industry titans to political elites, all these years? Was he truly untouchable? Or is this the moment the walls finally come crashing down? For over 3 decades, rumors and whispers have swirled around Diddy, painting him as far more than just a successful music mogul. To many insiders, he wasn't merely building an empire. He was pulling strings behind the scenes, allegedly handpicked by industry titans like Clive Davis and Lucian Grange to serve as the gatekeeper of black culture within the music world. According to these claims, his role went beyond business. He was chosen to act as a modern-day Judas, ensuring that the culture remained compliant while the industry reaped the benefits of its most valuable assets, its precious jewels. These accusations suggest that Diddy's influence extended into shaping narratives, controlling opportunities, and maintaining a system designed to exploit talent rather than empower it. Now, with multiple arrests reportedly on the horizon and explosive insider testimonies beginning to surface, the stakes are higher than ever. The central question looms large. Is Diddy truly guilty of the crimes he's accused of, or is he being used as a scapegoat for a much larger, systemic issue? Could this be an attempt to shift blame onto one man for years of alleged exploitation? Or is there undeniable truth behind the mounting allegations against him? As the layers of this complex story continue to unfold, one thing is certain. The answers could change how we view power dynamics in the entertainment industry forever. If you've ever wondered what happens when the cameras stop rolling and the glitz fades away, let me paint a picture for you. Behind closed doors, Diddy has been described by witnesses as distant, aloof, and calculating, someone who always seemed to be playing a deeper game. Take, for example, an acting coach who recalls sitting across from him in his opulent studio, waiting patiently for direction or feedback on a scene. Instead of discussing lines or performance techniques, she quickly realized he wasn't there to learn about acting at all. His real agenda became clear. He wanted access to her music, her industry connections, and possibly even more personal favors. What's most unsettling is how methodically he operated, using charm and influence as tools to manipulate those around him. It's chilling to think about the lengths someone might go to gain power, control, and dominance over others. Yet, this anecdote barely scratches the surface of the web of secrets and allegations that have followed Diddy throughout his career. From encrypted messages detailing hush money payments to accusations of coercive behavior behind the scenes, the story only grows darker and more complex with each revelation. Welcome to the world of the freak-off, exclusive, elaborate parties where nothing was off-limits. Prosecutors allege that Diddy used coercion, lavish gifts, and private jets to lure young women into exploitative situations. These events weren't just about excess. They were meticulously planned operations designed to entrap vulnerable individuals. Encrypted messages obtained by investigators reveal promises of modeling contracts, music careers, or other opportunities that seemed too good to pass up, only for those dreams to turn into nightmares. Many attendees reportedly found themselves trapped in situations they couldn't escape from, their autonomy stripped away under layers of manipulation and fear. Surveillance footage, banking records, and witness testimonies paint a chilling picture of what prosecutors describe as a calculated enterprise. This network allegedly relied on hush money payments funneled through shell companies, non-disclosure agreements, and even hired security personnel to ensure silence. Was this really consensual intimacy, or something far darker? The evidence suggests a pattern of control and exploitation, with victims allegedly subjected to psychological pressure, financial dependence, and threats of career blacklisting if they dared to speak out. Defense attorneys argue these claims are exaggerated, framing the encounters as consensual relationships misinterpreted by overzealous prosecutors. But with mounting allegations spanning decades, questions linger. How could so many people independently recount similar experiences unless there was truth behind their stories? As jury selection begins, tensions are reaching a boiling point. With allegations spanning from trafficking to racketeering, prosecutors are preparing to present an extensive case backed by over 48 digital exhibits and nearly 900 pages of financial records. These documents allegedly reveal a pattern of behavior that paints a damning picture. Yet, defense attorneys argue that what prosecutors are labeling as criminal activity is nothing more than consensual adult relationships misinterpreted through the lens of scandal. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just about whether Sean Diddy Combs is guilty or innocent. It's also about public perception. Can a jury of everyday citizens remain truly impartial when faced with such overwhelming evidence? And how much does Diddy's larger-than-life reputation built over decades in the spotlight, influence their decision-making process. In a trial where every piece of evidence seems designed to shock and provoke, the ultimate challenge may lie in separating fact from fiction and justice from bias. In Hollywood, fame often equals immunity, or at least the illusion of it. Just look at cases like R. Kelly's, where similar charges were brought under the RICO Act. Prosecutors used the same legal framework to argue that personal misconduct could be classified as racketeering, a strategy that ultimately led to Kelly's conviction. Now, Diddy finds himself in a strikingly parallel situation. If convicted on the top counts, he could face life in prison and lose everything: his iconic Bad Boy Records catalog, his multi-million-dollar mansions, luxury yachts, and even intellectual property royalties. The stakes are astronomical, with forfeiture claims already totaling over $140 million. But here's the twist: Diddy isn't backing down. Despite overwhelming odds, he insists he's innocent and vows to fight not just for himself, but for his family and anyone else he believes has been unfairly targeted by the federal government. His defense team argues that what prosecutors are calling exploitation is nothing more than consensual adult relationships within the entertainment industry. They've gone so far as to suggest that this case represents a broader attack on Black men in positions of power. Could this be the moment when a Black man finally breaks the mold in federal court, challenging systemic biases and proving that fame doesn't automatically equate to guilt? Or is Diddy walking straight into a trap, blinded by hubris or an unshakable belief in his own invincibility? Legal experts warn that taking such a high-profile case to trial is fraught with risks. Unlike civil cases, where settlements can minimize damage, criminal trials leave little room for negotiation once they begin. And while Diddy may see himself as a symbol of resistance against overreach, history shows that juries don't always sympathize with celebrities who claim persecution. For every artist acquitted after a media frenzy, there are others whose careers never recover, even if they're found not guilty. As the trial looms closer, one thing is certain: this isn't just about Diddy. It's about power dynamics, accountability, and whether justice can truly prevail when the defendant is a household name. Will this case become a landmark victory for those challenging prosecutorial overreach? Or will it serve as another cautionary tale about the perils of wielding too much influence without considering the consequences? The numbers don't lie. Over $140 million in assets hang in the balance, including mansions, yachts, and intellectual property royalties. These assets aren't just material possessions. They represent decades of hard work, calculated business moves, and a legacy that Diddy has carefully cultivated. Yet, as the trial looms, the financial stakes have never been higher. Brands like Spotify are already showing signs of distancing themselves. His monthly listeners dropped by 12% in April alone. Clothing lines, too, have paused collaborations, with some, like Shah Jahan, even shelving planned capsule collections. But here's the catch: scandals in the entertainment world often follow a peculiar pattern. History shows us that while public outrage can initially cripple careers, it doesn't always leave a permanent mark. Take Michael Jackson, for instance. After allegations surfaced, his popularity took a significant hit, but over time, fans returned, and his music rebounded stronger than ever. The question now is whether Diddy's story will mirror this trajectory, or if he'll become another cautionary tale, a name forever tarnished by controversy. Will he be able to rebuild his empire if acquitted, or will the damage prove too great to repair? The answer lies not just in the trial's outcome, but also in how his fanbase, and the industry at large, chooses to respond. Either way, one thing is certain: the ripple effects of this case will reshape how we view celebrity accountability and resilience in the face of scandal. So, what happens next? As the trial unfolds, one thing is certain: this isn't just about Diddy. It's about power, exploitation, and accountability on a scale that few could have anticipated. Whether he's guilty or framed, the stakes are astronomical, and the outcome will ripple across industries far beyond music and entertainment. It's not merely a question of whether one man abused his influence. It's a referendum on how society handles cases where immense wealth, fame, and systemic privilege collide with allegations of misconduct. The verdict, whatever it may be, will redefine how we view celebrity influence, corporate complicity, and the legal system's ability to hold powerful figures accountable. Will this trial expose deep-rooted corruption within the industry, or will it serve as yet another example of how fame can shield individuals from justice? And what does it say about our culture when accusations against icons become global spectacles, overshadowing the victims at the heart of these stories? One thing's for sure, we're watching history unfold, and it's going to get messy. With every witness testimony, piece of evidence, and courtroom argument, the line between truth and perception blurs further, leaving us to grapple with uncomfortable questions about fairness, morality, and the cost of ambition in a world obsessed with fame.